Hey guys, another month. Subscriptions don't cost you nothing. All you gotta do is hit that button. That's all, it costs you nothing. If you wanna see more of this crazy crap, remember, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, only good ones. Leave the not so good ones to the other guys, whoever you want. But anyway, hope you like this video. If you guys wanna keep seeing more Henry J's videos, let me know. Hope you enjoy this video. Have a good one, guys. I'm off cruising. Not in this. Not yet. But maybe next week, but doubtful. Enjoy. All right, today's the day. I'm gonna start working on my 1954 Henry J gasser. I've had this thing for almost a couple years now, so I think I'm finally gonna start working on it after gathering pieces. Today's goal is to strip the front end. It's only held on, I think, with a few bolts in here and there. I'm gonna make some measurements about where to start cutting the firewall, because I want to recess and put the engine transmission about 4.5 inches back. So I'm gonna have to slice and dice and start cutting up a bunch of the firewall, which is not the end of the world, because I think the gentleman before me, he already started doing all of it, so it's not a big deal. And I want to make room for these guys, and I want to tuck them in nice and close to the inner fender walls and all that. So that's pretty good. But like I said, there's no room right now for even like a water pump to the right. Well, there's no rat in it anyway, but there's no real room, so everything can get moved back and it'll just make things a lot easier and a lot better to work on. So I think that's the goal today, is to finish or pull this off and start mocking things up and start figuring out. I've already got steel for the front end and everything else. Got that this week. I think it's about 8:30ish on a Sunday morning, so before around noon, we'll probably start working on Ryan's 55, because I know he wants to get that up on the road soon, so I think we're going to finish the front end on that today. And the next week maybe put his LS back in it and get rid of the tranny and everything else, make some more room in here and get his car back on the road, because I'm pretty sure he wants it back on the road, and maybe it might last more than 2 weeks this time. We'll see. Kidding. But anyway, I think we'll be back in a minute, and I'll start pulling this stuff off, and maybe I'll just time lapse it or whatever, but should be a fun little project. Pretty excited. I've got a lot of things for it now, and pretty excited. It's just finding time. That's the big thing now. It's not so much money. Well, it's always money, but time. Time is the hard thing. You can't buy it. Wish you could. Anyway, back in a minute. Okay, so you can see I removed the hood. There's the water pump. Gonna run smack right dead in the middle of the rad cradle. That's where the rad would go. So obviously, even with a shortened water pump, it wouldn't work. And so like I said, the gentleman before me, he started recessing and making a firewall to clear the distributor and like that, and he did a really nice job, but unfortunately, I just don't think it's gonna be enough. So not a big deal to cut all this out and everything else and move it back. I did have intentions of when I was gonna do this, I was gonna run a tunnel ram on it, so I got one, but like this all would have had to been cut out and everything else. But I'm thinking it was just with the aftermarket intake that I'm going to be running, that I'll have enough clearance, so I should just be able to cut underneath that line and make it good. But I guess the gentleman, he did start trying to make small block mounts and whatnot with this cross member. I'm going to eliminate this, and I'm just going to box the frame and do everything else and make it a lot cleaner and straighter and just nicer, and maybe even shave off a few pounds. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was a subscriber, and he left the message the other day. He said, if I don't radius these wheel wells, he will unsubscribe. So sorry, I can't remember your name, but yes, I will definitely, they will be getting radius big time, because I already got slicks and everything else for it. So I did have intentions of removing these inner wheel or fender wells, but I think I'm going to leave them for the time being. I'll lose the battery box or the battery tray. I'll put that in the trunk. So I was able, like I said, I got steel for the front shackles and all that, and all new bushings and everything. So start working on that once I got other things figured out. So I think back in a minute. When I was starting this, Kevin says I should paint this thing, just leave it all ratty and whatnot, and kind of the way it is. But I think I want somewhat of a decent color or a paint job, and I already kind of have the figure. I figured out what color I think I want, but that's many steps down the road. And I think Derek and Chris will have their work cut out for them doing this, fixing this guy. But actually, that one's not as bad as certain ones. I still would like to get another one of these guys I am missing one. Well, actually, this one's busted, I do believe. Oh no, maybe not. Nope. So yeah, need one right there. I was on the fence of not running a grill, but I think that's pretty darn cool. So I'll see about finding one, maybe on eBay or whatnot. There's a gentleman locally, he's got a few of them, but he doesn't want to part with anything, and rightfully so. I don't blame him. But anyway, I guess that's enough rambling. I'll be back in a minute. I'll probably set up the camera and I'll just start pulling this front sheet metal off. So back in a minute. All right, so as you can see, a few minutes later, front end is taken off, or the front sheet metal anyway. But yeah, I guess these were his little mock-up mounts here. I guess maybe he did have plans of doing this. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, for shits and giggles, I just bolted up my fender well headers to see what I'm gonna have for clearance issues and whatnot. It's not too bad. It's probably about 2.5 inches or so. I'll actually take some measurements in a minute and start jotting these things down, but not too bad. What I think I'm gonna do next is go grab a short water pump that I've got in the house. Grab that, there's my finger, pointing right there. This guy here. I got a shorty one there, and I think I'll just grab that intake and manifold for right now for mock-up, and I'll pull a distributor out of that engine there. And then, yeah, I can start taking some references and start writing down some measurements and whatnot and seeing what I can do. And that looks pretty badass, though. And I'm thinking probably even the steering column might be able to come through here or through there. I'm not exactly sure yet, but I'll figure that part out. But I'm just also excited because that way I can just use the original front body mounts and whatnot. Block wood, really. I don't know what it's doing there, but it serves no purpose. And yeah, we'll get proper mounts for this. Chris always seems to like finding rubber to make for mounts. Seems to be his forte. But yeah, so, no, like I said, the gentleman before me just cut all this stuff out and everything else and started making floor pans, and so we'll finish it off. But yeah, so that's why I wasn't too afraid of cutting up the firewall and whatnot, and I'll have plenty of room for the clearance behind that and the dashboard. Man, pretty ugly, boring looking dashes. But yeah, super solid floors in the back, couldn't be happier. So, roof's nice. But anyway, I guess back to work. I'll go grab the water pump. So, pretty excited. It's coming along pretty good so far. Should have worked on it a long time ago. Okay, so here's my water pump I'll use. It's a shorty. Oh, it's a wind. It's a brand new water pump, so I think we'll use it for that. This is just a mock-up display engine that you have in your living room, because why not? Everybody needs one, unless you're screwed up in the head like me. So yeah, I like watching TV and, you know, looking at a motor. But anyway, maybe I'll show you what I've been also working on in the evenings. Non-car related. Put my shoes on. All right. It's a mess up here, but it's my upstairs bedroom. The other night just finished sanding, and it's all mudded and primed. First coat of primer. Everything looks good. So yeah, a lot of work. It's been a long time. This room's basically all sanded, well, mudded, only part sanded. So finish this off this week. Yeah. The outside world. So always can't work on cars. It's been a long time coming, so finally working on this. Took a lot of mudding and sanding, and I just do it in my evenings. After work, come up here for a couple hours. Can't always watch YouTube. So yeah, exciting times. Well, I guess we'll go pull off that water pump and we'll get back to some real work. I don't want to bore you with my carpentry skills, or drywall skills, that is, or lack of thereof. All right, we're back in a minute. Blue picnic table. Dirty truck, a lot of garbage in the back. 55 Pontiac. And you can see the shovel. And the memorial yard. We'll be back in a minute. Peace. Okay, as you can see, I kind of mocked up a few things. I put the water pump on, and I'll mock the cradle up there just to see what I have for clearance. I put the headers on and threw an intake and distributor just to see, because you know, there's a lot to consider about doing this and what will work and what won't work and where to kind of place everything. So this side actually isn't going to be that big of a deal. I would be actually very happy if I could move this back. Like obviously this firewall is going to get cut out, but I would be actually really happy with this. It's about I think that's about 2.5 inches. That actually would have been all right, because what I'm just worried about, which is not the end of the world if I have to cut out and remove, is the front body mounts. But I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do it. The driver's side's actually not bad at all, but the passenger side, it's only about 1.5 inches or so. So that's not as good as I was hoping, but it's not a big deal. Like I said, worst comes worst, I'll just drill at the spot welds for the body mounts and move them back. I can move them back about 3 inches, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just gonna take time and just measuring and taking your time to figure out what's what. And like I said, there's a lot to consider when putting in a motor or an engine and whatnot, and what's gonna work. Also, another thing I have to put in consideration is when I put the bolt in for like hooking up a Z-bar and stuff like that for the tranny and everything else. And there's just a million little things you have to figure out. If not, it'll bite you in the ass later on. So that's why I just take my time trying to figure it out and whatnot. But I think Derek and Chris, I think they're on their way here, so I'm gonna get their input on what I've come up with so far. And I'm getting hungry, so I think today I'll probably just barbecue smokies, because this is my ghetto breakfast: strawberry marshmallows. So good, but not really a breakfast. And I'm actually getting hungry, so I think I'll barbecue here soon. Yeah, it looks pretty cool with those headers. I think they're gonna work. Just a shame on the passenger side I didn't have as much room as this side. Would have made it a lot easier, but that's okay. It's only metal. So yeah, lots to consider, but I think it'll be worth it. We're making history here, building a Henry J. Never noticed this on the door. I guess it had a denter one time. They drilled this all out and popped it out, but I got way better doors than these ones, so that's all right. Yeah, Kevin still says leave it just like this, and you know, with a bit of primer doors or blue doors or whatever, but I think it deserves to be painted. Nothing super fancy. Oh yeah, I forgot I even had this little gem too. I think I bought this at a swap meet many years ago for like 20 bucks. Either you like them or you hate them. I'm kind of on the fence of them. I won't use it on here, but they're kind of neat. And yes, the leaves are still in the engine. I've never removed them, nor will I have plans on to it. Alrighty, I think I've rambled on enough. I think I'm gonna start making some measurements, and when those two clowns get here, I guess we'll see what's what. Or like I said, maybe we might go finish off Boog's 55 today. And then next week, hopefully, well actually no, next weekend we gotta put 2 shingles on a garage, so maybe one night, I'm not sure. I'll talk to Boog today and see when we can drop this thing and get this in his car, put that into storage. There's this tranny there. I can go in the car. Oh yeah, and here's all my engine mount, tranny mounts, kingpins, bushings, and everything for this thing. So, and some steel. you want to talk about nostalgic, way back in the day before any of these YouTube channels, Brent from Half-Fast, I texted him a long time ago saying I needed, if he had any mounting hardware for a Saginaw for a 4-speed, and he had this little relic, and he gave me a bunch of shift rods, and I changed, and a bunch of shift rods, and I traded him a couple ratty 31 Chevy front fenders. Might have been some back fenders that I bought at an auction for literally $1. So this was one of his brackets and the linkage. So way before any of these YouTube channels and all that. I don't know why it just dawned on me, but it came to me when I was bolting it. Where that came from? Probably about, I don't know, 10 years ago. Let's see. So clearly when we make the firewall, I'm going to be making a really big tranny tunnel. This is the part of the movie where it falls. Perfect. Let's grab the camera here. So as you can see, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm doing the front, pardon me, my camera action there. I'm doing the front body mounts. I'm going to make an incision, cut this out here. That way the original bead will all be there. I'm going to fix up some of that when I cut it out, but I'm just going to recess it about 3.5 inches later. And I think that's going to be my game plan. There's plenty of room behind the dash, so I'm not too concerned. So it's going to be a lot of figuring it out and everything else. And I said, I think the next couple days I'll go grab my clutch and brake and all that stuff, my pedals, start figuring that out. So I think it's going to be all right. What a difference. And then, like I said, I'm going to start figuring out afterwards. I'm going to just do one thing at a time so you don't get frustrated and lose what you're doing. But once I'm all done this, and then I'll start figuring all this stuff out. And I kind of, like I said, I got an idea what I'm going to use for a steering column and all that. And we're going to try it. If not, I do have right here, it's a brand new Vega box. Anthrax, probably the best band in the whole wide world. Sure, many of you will disagree. So yeah, so I hope you like my little video. Yeah, like I said, Sunday, I think we're gonna go out cruising, maybe for a little bit tonight, I'm not sure. It did look like it was gonna rain, but I came back and Ryan was more than generous enough to put garbage, or fill my truck up full of garbage. So I think I'm gonna go to the dump before they close today, so. Ugh. So yes, one of these days I gotta start driving this, and this thing's basically ready for a test drive. Just kind of shitting the bed on it. Haven't done it much lately, just with the weather and busy and life and everything else and whatnot. So anyway, hope you guys like this little video. Like, share, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. But yeah, there'll be a lot more Henry J videos coming. And yeah, tell me what you guys think, what I should maybe try doing, whatnot. So I'd like to hear from all you guys. I've been hearing quite a few good comments, so keep them coming. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.